So let's see if I, oh, it's being recorded. Oh my, let's see. So let's see if I can summarize what Dominico was saying.
I'll
So
have to hear it in recording because my wife is now calling me.
it sounds like Dominico was saying that everything that appears to us is is in itself consciousness, and I interpret it to saying that through our sense consciousness, like our eyes and other senses, we recognize objects, and so the recognition of the objects are are mental appearances, and what recognizes them is consciousness itself. So all our experience is in consciousness. So what is not consciousness? uh there's nothing that can there's nothing that can be separated from consciousness. Like anything that we think, it's in our consciousness. Anything that we sense is in our consciousness. So anything that is not in our awareness is not consciousness. So consciousness is all inclusive, is omnipresent. It's consciousness is God. What?
All right, so I had to shake my head because all I heard out of the explanation was that consciousness is God.
Oh,
Consciousness is created in the image of God, but it has nowhere near, at least human consciousness has nowhere near the scope.
or then I could qualify by saying that consciousness is all that we can know, that and what we don't know, we can say that's not in the realm of consciousness, so it doesn't exist. So consciousness is all that exists uh for ourselves inwardly. Hmm. So I am not able to read Dominico's mind. Therefore, Dominico's mind does not exist for me, at least.
Tapping the consciousness, you could,
But
but how many people actually get that gift?
somehow there is something, some another instance of consciousness in the what's the word, in the vessel of labeled Dominico. So there's some another instance of consciousness in there, and there's another instance of consciousness in Central Florida Philosophy Meetup in Rami Kutene and in all sentient beings. So there's 7 billion consciousnesses, human consciousnesses, and there's trillions of animal consciousnesses. And there, and maybe each cell in our body has its own consciousness. It just doesn't have the senses to see very much.
You're asking that you're
And maybe
asking.
even stones and pebbles, maybe they have their consciousnesses too, except they don't have any sense consciousness to know what's going on. So consciousnesses are everywhere.
You're asking a program to say, in this case, when you said reading my mind, the fact that you put my mind and you put my name on it, there's so many Dominics in the world. There's so many pebbles in the world. If you can become aware of things like, mine, Dominic, this or that, then you could probably tap into consciousness. Now, consciousness, does it evaluate everything as an individual? Maybe. As a collective, it could be. If I'm a monkey in another part of the world and I'm cracking a coconut, consciousness picks that up in what we call thoughts. And then another monkey, it could be the alpha monkey, the leader of the pack, that actually picks up that thought and it acts it out. And then all the other monkeys in another part of the world. But the monkey does not identify itself as George. It does not identify all that. And even that's me speculating. So could you tap into what you just said, Dominic's thoughts? Well, first of all, they're not my thoughts, so it's up in the universe. So could you tap into it? Yes. But again, we've been conditioned to think that we have to have identifications. So in this case, you think it's Dominic. Is it Dominic the electrician? Is it Dominic the Italian? Is it Dominic the Roman Catholic? Is it Dominic that's the atheist? You're breaking all that down. And then again, this is where people start spinning their wheels, not realizing, regardless if you use the word God, energy, reptilian, you can use any words you want. But as you were speaking, we're giving into a high tech, and I'm just using today's analogy, a computer. It's going to pick all that up. Can you read it? Well, then that would imply that you're the observer of all of that. So then you have to be from an observer view. But is that also not another variations of the consciousness? I'm using the word consciousness. We can use many words to describe it: energy, source, God, whatever word we want to use. Is when people get hung up is, I don't believe in consciousness. I don't believe in God. Okay, well, you're using another word now to describe another word. So again, that's not the person that's in the observer mind. They're still caught up in one of the variations of mind's seat. Is it my hemisphere, left, right? Is it my heart? Is it where the blood flows? Is it where my spleen is, where the intuition is? Is it where the groin is, where there's reproduction and all that kind of stuff? There's so many things we can play with. But if people are trying to be serious or silly or sincere, again, they all give up different energies. I want to color with the color black, but meanwhile, I keep on getting this red tinge. Well, Dom, because you're holding a red crayon, yeah, but I want it to will it to be black. Well, now you're going to try to break the program and will your way. How about you just close your eyes and pretend it's black? Because that's another consciousness. So when you say words like my consciousness, well, then you've labeled it. And how is somebody else going to see in another realm my consciousness? Because they're saying the same thing. So if we're going to play this identity game, then you have to say it's not mine, then it's just out in the universe. So if I'm going to tap into a program, I literally, think about a computer. It has directories, subdirectories, and subdirectories. So the mind has that. Consciousness might have that. I can only say might because I can only talk about what we create. And of course, we play this game that we think there's cause and effect. One thing I've ever observed is these effects and side effects. I don't know where languages exist. Now, when people talk about light and they talk about afterlives and emotions, something tells me within, Dominic, what they call light is the same thing. But there's something that's beyond enlightenment. Light. There's something beyond all of that. That's what fuels it. It's like me and you. We're playing with our computers or laptops, but what's fueling it? Is it a hard drive fueling it? Is it the electricity that's fueling it? Or is it literally a combination of a whole bunch of things, even my internet or wireless? I said the word mine. Why is it mine? Because I identify, once again, I've never lived there. If you can ever get to that moment of awareness, where Jay, we all do it unconsciously and consciously, where you never live outside. When you hug your mother, you're using a vessel to hug her. Whoever you are never hugs her. When you're in the shower, you're still here. You never leave here, never. You're here for 60, 70, 80 years. You're here. Once you're released of it, then you discovered I've always been in the external realm, meaning death. Life is within. But when I say life within, I'm talking about we're receivers that picks up messages from somewhere else. Some people might call it the ether, the aura, the whole idea about the Buddha doing the rebirth process. That's a mistake. It's actually the re-death process. The rebirth process is when he actually goes away from the physical form. He goes into the rebirth process. And then when he comes again into this avatar, he's in the re-death process. Your hair is dead. Your skin is dead. Everything outside is dead. Just because it moves doesn't mean it's alive, because if it's truly alive, I should be able to get this object and this object, put it together, and then some other thing can come out of it. It doesn't work that way. And again, because I'm talking from the observer point of view, I'm actually using my mind and my emotions and my intuition all at once. But when a person divides it or doesn't develop those things, he's going to have this debate and argument, but they're really having it with themselves, because the self has never been developed, because it's been at a disadvantage for 7 years, been deprived of the winning process. They've been deprived of all this it's been malnutrition most times. And then the body's fighting constantly. You send a child at 5 years old to school when it's not even ready for the mental and emotional development years. Somebody might have created that. And I won't deny that we have a realm called the Luciferian realm, and they do play a realm here because this is their realm to rule, not to own, to rule. And we come here to experience it and learn a lot of things. I get agitated because I know I'm getting caught up in my passions because I never really developed them when I was younger, to be there very quiet and say, you know something, Dominic, I'm not going to get upset. And I'm not even going to write a book. I'm not even going to talk about it anymore. I'm truly going to be in peace, silence, because people are going to do what they're going to do and they're going to say what they're going to say. But the fact that I see a whole bunch of people that write shitload of books, they're very passionate. And that's a detachment. Now, people might look at me and say, well, what about you, Dominic? I'm doing the same thing. I'm just doing it in a different form. You know, just to share ever so lightly, Jay, because I realize we go back and forth, and my struggles is, when is he going to become aware? And that's my struggle, because I realize he's going to do what he's going to do, because who's to say that he doesn't know way more than you, Dominic? You're just unaware of it because you're caught up in belief systems or knowledge, opposed to what's wisdom and understanding. Again, those are just words. Those are like little landmarks. Me and you go hiking. Hey, Dom, I see this one tree with a blue tape on it. Well, that's wisdom. That's the direction go to wisdom. That one has black. That goes to understanding. You know, and then we play this game, and then we start using names. The Dalai Lama, the Pope, Donald Trump. Okay, but how does that bring value to an individual that never leaves his own home? We never, ever leave our own home. People even like playing the game of, well, we're going to do astral traveling. Well, when I go to sleep or rest, how do I not know whoever I truly am removes itself from this vessel? And then somebody else comes here as like a what do you call them? Like a security guard. Okay, Dom, you're going to go somewhere else and get rebooted, and all of a sudden somebody's going to come here temporary, a jinn or whatever, and he's going to be a security guard for while you sleep for 8 hours. And within a split moment, I'm going to wake up, I'm back again. Those are all possibilities. Could I answer that? No, not even close. And me writing millions of books would not even come close to that kind of stuff. But again, this is me talking out loud. Now, people might think, oh, he's a little bit crazy. Well, then explain what intelligent is then, because I can assure you, most people aren't going to understand what intelligent is, let alone crazy. But yet we think, I'm going to discover consciousness when consciousness is all. And even that, here I am, I'm doing the hand gesture, it's all. How do I know that? I don't. And even if I did know that, how would I explain it to another human being that's never left his vessel? Never. I've never left my vessel. When you play tennis, when I see you playing tennis or karaoke, did you leave your body to sing karaoke? No, you're still there. You literally got to take your avatar everywhere you go, everywhere. And then I look at a cat. Does it know it's a cat? Or does it hear cat? You know, is it language? Is that also another game of consciousness? Could be. We literally could be what people call an amazing or cursing matrix, but yet we try to explain ourselves by being inside the bag, and we're punching around and everybody else is just laughing at us, or to say, I don't know what he's doing. That's a possibility, Jay, because I realize no matter what I say or don't say, it is what it is. For most people, they're never going to become aware of that kind of stuff. And even if they didn't, there's a good chance what I'm doing is a fruitless effort. You know, not even realize I planted the wrong fruit, and I'm looking for apple trees, but meanwhile, I planted a weed. You know, but then there's people that will write a shitload of books, and really, with all sincerity, Jay, they probably planted weeds. Just because they sell them all doesn't mean it just proves that everybody else is. Can a billion people that are Muslims be misled? For sure. Can a billion people that are Christians be misled? For sure. Can a few become aware and try to explain it to the masses and be fruitless? For sure. You know, I was hearing the conversation about consciousness, and
Let's
I
see
heard
if
it.
I can summarize what
please.
Domenico shared. So I heard that there is when I say my this or my that, and I say it, and then you say it, my this or my that, they're pointing to different things, like but you're using the same words. And then, so what happens in the mind when I say my this or my that, and then you say my this or my that, the because it comes from me, it's pointing to my this or my that. But when you say it, my this or my that, you'll be referring to a different thing. So we're using the same words to, and we have to through I don't know if it's logic or intuition, we infer that we're not talking about the same thing, but we're talking about something that is possessed by the talker. So when I say my consciousness, that's a different thing from when you say my consciousness. So somehow there's two different consciousnesses. And what makes them different, I guess it's the location that or the vessel that they're taking up.
The
Is that what
imprint,
you were
Jay,
talking about?
Jay, the imprint that you're getting is not, you're trying to read something that I said, where when a person says my wife, my kids, my house, my life, my this, the imprint is the word mine for oneself. All those other words get lost. Consciousness picks up, but we can't read into it. So that for you to think about my mind, you're so busy putting imprints into yourself. If you hear yourself, when a person says, let's see if they're self-absorbed or self-centered. Why? Is it your wife? Well, yeah, it's my wife, my kids, and all that. So when did you become possession of anything? Is when a person starts becoming aware of those words, then they drop off. It's like when a person says, do you believe? You put an imprint to everything with the word belief, opposed to what's the word after. This is why when I say the word self, if it's going to be an imprint, it should be in the second. Mastery of the self, love of the self. But eventually you should even get rid of the word self, because what ends up happening, all those other first words get lost because you don't say it enough times, but that one word says over and over again. When a person says I, everything else gets lost because now you're doing an imprint. Think about pixels on a screen. If one particular pixel always gets abused, then eventually it's going to black out, or it'll stick out like a sore thumb. So when you say things like mine, well, then how do you identify all the other things now? Because you're too busy caught up in a particular word. I'm just saying that as an example. Only you know whether or not you use certain words. I know the belief system has its value, but has this limitation. Same with knowledge, same with wisdom, and same with understanding. If I keep saying the word compassion all the time, I'll make it an imprint. That's why some words I never say anymore. I just don't say it. But other people will say it and then they'll project it outwards and they assume I'm actually saying it. I said, no, I'm telling you right from the get-go, I don't say those words. I'll tell people all the time, I don't give a flying fuck who you are. I really don't care. The reason why I say that is because I don't want the other person to have a misunderstanding that, Dominic, but you said you care. No, who's supposed to care for you? The only person that's ever been in you. This is why when people said, I want the government to basically take care of me, they're delusional. Nobody can ever take care of you. Nobody can ever be a slave and master outside of you. That's a game that one plays with itself. That's all they're doing. They're playing a game within oneself, but they're so caught up in the outcome, they don't realize, forget about the outcome of winning chess or losing chess. Do you understand the pieces on the puzzle? Who's moving the piece on the puzzle? You can only move one piece at a time. That's all you can do. Me and you don't create, like as you're holding a cell phone. You don't create the cell phone. That's technology beyond human capacity. Now, if you think you could sum that up for you, please share. I'll share this because I know you're recording. Oh, Rami's back.
Okay.
Welcome back, Mommy.
Thank you, Domenico. That is a really neat name. Have you broken it down and considered its attributes?
Domenico,
Yes.
well, with the Lord, I think in one of the ways. I've always went by the name Dominic, so I actually changed my energy because I didn't really use my given name. So just recently, I've actually started putting the O at the end of it. It also means Sunday in Italian.
When I break it down, I see it in its component parts.
Say it
And
again.
I do have a double spelling, but when I break it down, I see Domenico, the Dom, a reference to Dominion. I see men, plurality. I see I, individual, corporate.
True. I always find that is when I see the word kingdom, freedom, the word dome was in it, dom anyway. So, yeah. I think we lost Jay for a bit.
Iro is in mute, and I've been gone for most of this session. My son's now sitting at the computer doing the recording, and I had to go temporarily, equivalent of a Windows Alt tab, to go back to Zoom and admit myself so I could join in through this.
I was sharing ever so lightly. I was sharing around with ever so lightly
Say bye
about.
for the morning.
Oh, go ahead.
Say bye for the morning.
I'll just read it and review because I got the recordings.
Okay.
My wife says I'm done this morning, so I wish you all well and bid you adieu.
Whatever
Ronnie.
happens to you.
Are you back, Jay? Okay. You're on. You're on mute, Jay. Hi to your mom. Hmm. Mhm.
Wow,
You back, Jay?
I'm back. What did I miss? You
Not too much.
you were talking with Rami and then Rami had to go?
Yeah, his wife was saying that. Yeah, I think he had to attend to her for a bit. So he said he'll just keep the recording going.
Oh,
But I think we got 10 minutes
oh, we
left.
have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't think I can continue.
Okay.
So what have we learned today? Oh,
Would you like to share? Go ahead, Jay. I guess not.
I'm back. What have we learned? I had to answer the phone. My boss and brother. And so yeah, it was interesting to get Dominico's perspective. And I was thinking of, could consciousness be described as the canvas? Like this canvas. The canvas upon which we lay our experience so that we can choose a virtual background and I'm putting the virtual background. Well, this background covers everything. So I really didn't need that green screen for it. Or maybe I have to go into virtual settings. So I have a share screen, backgrounds and filters. Here it is. Oh, I have a green screen. Okay, here it is. I have a green screen and then I go like this. Oh, okay. Now, now you see that this green screen, I can grab it. See, it's that green screen. And it's, so that green screen is in, as a simile, let's say that green screen represents consciousness. And then when I take off the virtual background, I could put none. So I took off the virtual background, but consciousness is still there. Then I put another virtual background. Let's see, I'm going to go to San Francisco. There, the Golden Gate Bridge, right? Consciousness is still there. So whatever background I put, it changes consciousness or states of mind or mental arisings. This background arose and then it went away when I put another background. I could put blur. That's interesting. Or, well, and I don't know if that's a good simile because there's this guy in front of consciousness. Who is that? Is that the observer? Is that where the mind is located? Or is the mind located in what you're seeing on screen? So the mind is not really in here for you. And that's why I was talking about my this or that versus when you say my this or that. They're pointing to different things. But that seems obvious and automatic for us. We don't have to think about it. We somehow learn that pretty quickly, that what's yours is yours and what's mine is mine. And so when you're talking and using the word my or mine or I, it's in reference to you in that you possess those things or that you're possessed by them. But who is that possessor, or who is it that's being possessed? Maybe that's the mind. Or are they all the same? The mind and consciousness are the same. Oh, but in the interesting Oh, perhaps the back, the actual canvas screen thing back there that's blurred out. I could take off the virtual background and take it off. So there it is. No virtual background. So is that the same as when we're in a coma? When we're in a coma or deep sleep where nothing is arising mentally, there is still that thing, consciousness, except it's not being presented with anything. Or you could think of it as a white projector. You know those things that you pull down and then you project a movie onto it. So the thing that you pull down is a white screen. And so that is consciousness. And then what you project onto it is mental stuff, which includes sense awarenesses and also mental awarenesses. And it gets tricky because it depends on the definitions that you give for those words. So I'll leave it at that. So I hope someone here enjoyed this and may it have benefited them somewhat. So I have to say goodbye to Rami, or maybe I could leave him up. Because I left him as he's the host and the guest, so I could leave, or I could join on my phone and do things. Yes, I'm gonna leave. No, I'm gonna join with the phone. If I got enough battery, I'm gonna join it. Join with my phone. Join. 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 Where am I? No, I can't. 407-486-8642. Join. Uy, tengo que ir al Aldi.
Recording in progress.
Uy. Uf. Uy. There we go. I think. Yes, I got it. So it's interesting that I'm noticing that